Hello and welcome. I'm Ashwin Ahmad and I'm very pleased to be in conversation with former Ambassador Vishnu Prakash and an expert on Korea. Today, we are going to be talking about North Korean leader Kim Jong Un, who is reportedly in coma and his sister has taken over. Ambassador, first of all, welcome. Thank you for talking to Strat News.
Always a pleasure to be at Chat News and lovely talking to you.
Thank you, sir. Well, first off, let me ask you Kim Jong un, according to the media, has been ill so many times. He has been killed so many times by the media. Do you think there is anything different this time round that we should note?
Well, as the saying goes, the news about my death is slightly exaggerated.
Hmm.
Uh, the only certainty about North Korea is that there is no certainty. There are
Right.
three possibilities: that he is no more, he's in coma, he's hale and hearty. It is an enigma wrapped in a mystery. So, frankly, what we see is nothing but guesswork. If he is
Right.
not seen for a few days, all kinds of guesses are made. But this time, the reason why he is being suspected of being in a coma, if not
Yes.
worse than that, is that he has de facto handed over the reins of office to his younger
Yes.
sister, Kim Yo Jong. And no North Korean leader ever does that, because they are afraid or they suspect even their shadows. So that is perhaps the reason for the speculation.
Now let's come to South Korea. Do you think there is a vested interest here? I mean, the fact that a South Korean former diplomat has been quoted as leaking this news, is there some kind of vested interest, or do you think this is just, I mean, he's going by speculation?
Well, South Korea is divided right in the middle. There are the liberals or the Democrats, and there are the conservatives. The
Right.
conservatives want North Korea to be taught a lesson. The predecessors of Moon Jae-in, whether it was Park Geun-hye or Lee Myung-bak, were had taken a hardline approach because they were conservatives. But President Moon Jae-in is a liberal, and he and his party have always taken a softer approach, an approach of accommodation towards North Korea. So the society is divided in the middle. Uh, and if you hear anything critical about North Korea, the chances are that it will be a calculated leak by somebody from on the conservative side. So, not as a rule of thumb, that's how it is. But North Korean intelligence, or KCIA as it is called, has a
Hmm.
mixed record. At times they've got it right, at times they've got it wrong, because they have very little human int. The whole problem is that there is very little human int in that anybody has about North Korea, and
Hmm.
it's like reading the tea leaves. So you at times you get it right, at times you get it wrong.
So, but what is striking this time, so far from what I've seen, there has been no denial from the North Korean media side. Usually there is a swift denial. What do you
No,
make
there is
of
not.
this?
There is not. Why should they deny? They never deny it, because if you see this business, that is the whole situation. They will either kind of use a very strong language, and what will burn the ears of the rest of the world is very usual for the North Koreans to engage in. But or they'll keep quiet. They have no reason to deny it or confirm it. For all you know, I'm not at all saying that Kim Jong Un is not unwell or not in
Hmm.
coma. After all, he is known to be obese. He's a heavy drinker. He's a smoker. He has had health issues in the past, so you don't know.
Right,
But
right.
it is quite possible that he has just decided to take a step back temporarily to recuperate and to just see what is the reaction of the world. or within his own country. So there are games being played constantly. And if there's
Hmm.
one person who is safe to be presented as an alternative power center, that is his sister, because North Korea and South Korea are very patriarchal, and it
Right.
is very, very difficult for a lady, howsoever close, the very fact that she is a sister, Kim Jong Un sister,
Hmm.
will give her some clout. But
Right.
stamping her authority is a different matter altogether.
Sir, I'm glad you brought up the sister. What do we know that is a fact of Kim Jo Jong? And secondly, how easy will it be for her to govern given that North Korea is such a patriarchal society? We've had three supreme leaders, all men.
East Asia, for that matter, I am making a rather sweeping statement, but East Asia is quite a patriarchal society, be it
Right.
Japan, US, or China. Now, let's just talk the Koreas. Even for Kim
Yes.
Jong Un, by the way, Kim Jong Un was not the preferred choice of his father. Kim Jong Un had two sisters, and his father Kim Jong Il thought they were better. But at the end of the day, he was anointed. Then there was the half brother of Kim Jong Un, and who was assassinated brutally by Kim Jong Un in February 2017. That was Kim Jong Nam. So
Yes.
Kim Jong Un assassinated his uncle, who in 2013, who was emerging, or was a kind of for some time was running affairs on behalf of Kim Jong Un. So it is a very tough society,
Yes.
because there is poverty, there is authoritarianism, people are being kept in a bubble. So at the first hint of an alternative power center, there is a threat to the throne is perceived. But
Yes.
being a lady and
Hmm.
being comparatively younger, she's 4 years younger than Kim Jong Un.
Hmm.
She, or it'll be twice as difficult. It took Kim Jong Un many years to stamp his authority. For his sister,
Yeah.
will be twice as difficult, and for her to emerge as a threat to Kim Jong Un is a remote possibility. So, of course, there is something happening in that
Hmm.
either Kim Jong Un wants to lighten his burden or is
Hmm.
ill, that she is being brought to the front, but we'll have to wait and watch.
So, I mean, where does she stand? Some people say that, she's more hardline than her brother is, especially on issues regarding South Korea, United States, etc. Well, I know very little is known about her, but, from what little we've seen, she seems to be on her brother's side and she seems to be, very clued in on foreign policies. So, how does
Yep.
she differ from her brother?
The world saw her in action in February 2018, when she became the first member of the Kim family to land on the
Yes,
South Korean soil.
yes,
She basically overshadowed the Winter Olympics of South Korea, and she
right.
had South Koreans eating out of her hands.
Right.
The way she walked, the way she talked, the way she glanced, the way she carried herself, there was a
Hmm.
regal air about it. And
Yes.
while the titular president of North Korea was heading the delegation, all eyes were focused on her, because for no
Hmm.
other reason, she was the Kim sister. So
Yes.
there could be de jure positions, but the real power, like the power in any first family in any country, I mean, you know what I'm saying, whether
Yes.
you have de facto power, de jure power or not, I mean, the very name brings about power, and the
Yeah.
proximity to the power center it is all about. So that, but we have to understand her psychology or the need in a patriarchal society. She
Hmm.
cannot afford to be soft. That would be
Yes.
seen as a weakness. She
Hmm.
has to be more loyal than the king.
Yes.
he has to per se adopt a harsher persona so that
Hmm.
she sends out the message, don't mess with me. I'm a big lady, but I'm a tough cookie. And, so it is all about a perception and posturing. But what she has shown so far is that she goes by the book. She
Hmm.
is the shadow of her brother. She
Yes.
knows, derives power from her brother, and she's a no
Yes.
nonsense person.
So, what are some of the harsh measures that she's put forward that you're talking about?
Well, even for North Korea, for example, South Korea, in March this year, there were
Right.
some South Koreans had protested against live military or fire exercises by North Korea. So they
Hmm.
protested. He kind of snapped back that they are barking like a frightened dog. Now,
Hmm.
you would think it's a grave insult, but it is not. I mean,
Yes.
uh, the language that is used by North Koreans and earlier by the Soviet Union at times or earlier by China
Yes.
uh, can be quite intimidating. When I was
Uh-huh.
posted in South Korea, I remember in 2013 there were
Hmm.
some difficulties between North and South Korea, and
Right.
the North Koreans said, "We will drown South Korea in a sea of fire." Oh, I said,
Right.
"Oh my God!" And then when I
Hmm.
spoke to my Korean friends, they said, "Ah, I mean, this is par for the course, you know." So it's a very different world in the sense that there's a lot of posturing that goes
Hmm.
in,
Yes.
and that, if you're a South Korea as a Korea watcher, you take it in your stride.
So now, conversely, I want to ask if these rumors are true. I mean, we know for a fact that he is ailing, despite the fact he made that public appearance. If these rumors are true, how would the other actors, the China, the United States, Japan, etc., how would they view this development? And if she does come to the fore, as is predicted, how would they view her and North Korea? Would we see a more belligerent approach from the United States and China?
I think all bets are off. All bets are off. It will be very, very difficult for her to stamp her authority. It will
Right.
be a period of instability. There will be a turf war
Okay.
between China and USA. Japan, I
Mm-hmm.
think, the role of Japan will be marginal. Japan kind of
Yes.
comes in more as you see, the country that calls the shots are only two: China, which is
Yes.
the savior, and
Mm-hmm.
and USA, which is a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And the others are playing a supportive role. So
Yes.
when there is a thaw, for example, Japan and South
Hmm.
Korea come in with the money and providing assistance, but the
Hmm.
decisions are taken by US. So
Yes.
uh, if that is were to happen and Kim Yo Jong were to assume power, I think
Hmm.
we can things can go either way. There will be a
Hmm.
competition for influence, and I would not even hazard a bet a dollar one way or the either. But
Yes.
China will be quite worried because Chinese effort would be for China. North Korea is a buffer state, and
Yes.
they would be very apprehensive of an eventuality to see
Hmm.
American boots on the North Korean soil. So their
Yes.
effort would be somehow to hold on or to kind of strengthen their control. And if they were to enter North Korea and
Hmm.
take over security, I will not be surprised.
Sir, going forward now, where do you see North Korea going from here? We had summit meetings with President Trump that went nowhere. We have a potentially disturbing situation where supreme leader is unwell. So where does the North Korea show no sign of giving up belligerence? So where does this nation go from here? And what is likely to be the fallout, especially when it's suffering so much from COVID cases?
Yeah. Well, you would recall that in February, March, Kim Jong-un maintained that there was no COVID in North Korea,
Yes.
and that was fine. But at the same time, there was a telltale sign in that they sealed the borders with China, so that
Yes.
there was nobody who would enter or bring the COVID infection. Now,
Yes.
North Korea is facing in 2020, there has been not double but a triple whammy for them. One
Yes.
is the sanctions. The sanctions
Yes.
are begin to bite. And
Right.
if I were to quote some statistics for you, which are indicative, by the way, again, these are guesstimates, that in
Mhm.
2016, North Korean GDP increased by 3.9%, shrank
Right.
by 3.5% in 2017, shrank again by 4.1% in 2018, and just
Mhm.
about a 0.4% growth in 2019. And
Right.
trade with China, with which North Korea has 95% of its trade, or 92%, has
Mhm.
plummeted about 70%.
Right.
And then there was so A, the sanctions, B, COVID,
Mhm. Mhm.
C, devastating floods because there were torrential rains. So
Right.
in a meeting which was held in earlier in August, a North Korean leader reportedly admitted that
Right.
things were not working well, that there are going to be
Mhm.
economic difficulties, etc., etc. So, in short, North Korea is in an economic mess, but
Mhm.
people are very used to hardship, and for the North Korean leaders, their we have assets or weapons of mass destruction, which is like an insurance against regime change,
Mhm.
is everything. Their belief is that if there is no country, there is no weapons of no deterrent, then USA will walk all over them. So first is
Right.
to save the regime, the rest follows, and that what it is. But people will suffer, and people have suffered in North Korea ever since 1948.
Ambassador Prakash, thank you so much for sharing your insights. If these rumors do end up to be true, that Kim Jong Un is reportedly in coma, we'll of course be tracking that story and thank you for your insights. Thank you so much for talking to Strat News.
Pleasure.
I'm Ashwin Ahmad. Thank you for watching.